Welcome to the RodCast. This is Rod Weaver. This video is really just an extension of the Spare Talk videos that you all may have checked out on YouTube in the past. I'm actually more of a listener than an orator, but I'll try to get through this because I believe it's important to the sport of bowling. Today we're going to discuss the series of videos in which I've created that have been extolling the virtues of the 10-pound bowling ball for the game of 10 pins. Although my forte has been with the duck pin game, I did start my bowling career as a participant with the big ball game, the game of 10 pins. And about a couple of decades later, I did join an after-work league for 10-pin bowling, in which I did establish my most recent average for the game. Traditionally, there's been a stereotype of sorts in which the mindset is that a heavy ball is mandatory for achieving good scores in the sport of 10-pin bowling. While it's true that a heavy ball delivers maximum performance, that's mainly a primary concern for the expert player who rolls a masterful curved ball, and some of these bowlers aspire to be on the PBA circuit. These players don't need any guidance. My videos, however, are targeting the casual player because it's these bowlers that are the backbone of league bowling in the United States. As we know, duck pins has been on a steady decline over the last several decades. 10-pin bowling in general is also experiencing issues with league membership. In 1980, the American Bowling Congress estimated that there were approximately 4.8 million registered 10-pin league bowlers in the United States. When Y2K rolled around, that number decreased to around 3 million. And in today's estimate from the United States Bowling Congress, which is the successor to the ABC, the estimated number of league bowlers is down to about 1.2 to 1.3 million. This is a real point of concern, and it's necessary to try to regenerate interest in league bowling for the game of 10-pin. That's why the casual player needs to be encouraged to come back to league bowling. But in getting back to the subject of ball weights, it's been traditionally true that the heavier the ball, the better the result. But that particular line of thinking was most relevant in the early days of bowling, back when there were wooden balls and wooden pins that the balls would be tossed against. In the 1970s and 80s, that philosophy was beginning to change because a lot of the pros were opting for the 15-pound ball as opposed to the 16-pounder. Nowadays, the pins are actually lighter, which leads to better scoring. And what's overlooked by the average non-pro is that when examining the ratio between pin action versus ball impact, the player who rolls with a lighter to medium weight ball is not sacrificing near as much in terms of scoring as was the case several decades ago. A 10-pound ball rolled at a faster speed of, say, 19 miles per hour can do a lot of damage when impacting the pin. The main perk for the casual player in this regard is in the area of spare shooting. If you can wield a ball in which you're in complete control of your body, you're more apt to hit what you're aiming at. And when you're talking about single pins and spare breaks that are made up of maybe 2 or 3 pins, accuracy is more important than the weight of the ball. The weight of the ball makes no difference in toppling those few pins. Ball placement is key in those cases. Probably a 12 or 13 pounder would be an ideal weight for the straight ball shooter who wants to join a league. There's certainly nothing wrong or wimpy about rolling the lighter ball, especially when you're generating good scores. And so the goal of these videos is to demonstrate that good scores are well within the capability of the average player. And in turn, I'm hoping to encourage those players who have either left the game or those who are just considering leaving the game for something else. So you might want to give the lighter ball a try. With today's conditions, when you're able to see the type of scores that the lighter ball can generate, the game might become even more fun for you. especially when the experts have increased the scoring in their game with the premium balls and the two-handed deliveries, which generate a lot more revolutions. But for the casual player, straight ball is more than adequate for scoring well. For me personally, since I've been doing these videos, I had never really seen myself roll a 10-pin ball before, and now that I've actually seen how I roll the ball and can critique my game, it has sparked a renewed enthusiasm for the game of 10 pins. It's my goal to visit one of the PBA 50 tours next month, which is being held in Manassas, Virginia, to see the older pros of my past viewing days, now up close and in person. I'm considering giving that tour a shot to see how it compares with the Duckpin Pro Tour from approximately 25 years ago. If for nothing else, having the chance to meet and talk with some of the legendary pros would be well worth the time invested in joining the tour. I kind of figure if I can work on my game and make improvements where they need to be as far as consistency goes, I can get an elite to make the average requirements for joining the PBA 50 Tour, which is not really that far out of reach for a player who's been experienced with the game in the past. And I already meet the age criteria for the senior tour, so that's not an issue. I realize that at some point I'll need a professionally drilled ball if I do make it to that level to where I'll be competing on the Pro Tour, but that's not really an issue because over at Thunderhead Bowl and Grill in Tawnytown, Tom Latella is the pro shop expert over there, and he's most capable of doing a first-rate job on drilling. He's really a craftsman at what he does. On this note, I think I'll sign off for now. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I do have a couple more games to upload to YouTube from the Tawnytown trip I made about a week ago, in which I rode on their new synthetic lanes. I hope you all have a great week and take care.